They said the mission was simple: stop the drugs, sink the boats. But on a dark September night in the Caribbean, something far more explosive unfolded. Survivors clung to wreckage. Then a second strike erased them. Now the White House is defending it, commanders are contradicting each other, and Washington is asking, was this justice or a war crime in plain sight? The White House has defended controversial military attacks on suspected drug smuggling vessels, even as questions intensify over a follow-up strike that killed 2 survivors in the Caribbean Sea. United States' Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, told reporters on December 2nd that he watched the first attack on a Venezuelan boat in real time on September 2nd, but did not observe the second strike that killed survivors clinging to wreckage. Hegseth confirmed at a cabinet meeting that Admiral Frank Bradley ordered the follow-up attack, saying the commander had full authority to finish off the vessel.
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire is smoke, you can't see anything, you got digital. This is called the fog of war. As you would, as any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility. So I said, I'm going to be the one to make the call after getting all the information and make sure it's the right strike. That was September 2nd. There's a lot of intelligence that goes into that, building that case and understanding that, a lot of people providing information. I watched that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do, and by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call.
The admission came after the Washington Post reported military commanders struck twice specifically to comply with directions that no one be left alive. Hegseth dismissed the reporting as fabricated, but acknowledged Bradley made the call to eliminate survivors, a decision he said was correct. President Donald Trump claimed the campaign had reduced seaborne drug trafficking by 91%, whilst asserting that each destroyed boat saves 25,000 American lives. The administration has released no evidence verifying that boats were carrying narcotics or heading to American shores.
And you may say one thing, that drugs coming in through the sea by sea are down 91%. And I don't know who the 9% is.
I'm not sure either, sir.
But down 91% by sea.
The September 2nd incident has triggered bipartisan demands for investigation, with legal scholars calling it a potential war crime. Pentagon guidelines explicitly prohibit firing on shipwreck survivors, and critics say the administration is conducting extrajudicial killings rather than lawful military operations. Democratic Representative Adam Smith accused Hegseth of shifting responsibility while issuing questionable orders. Former Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall said Bradley would face court-martial under normal circumstances, calling the survivors' killing a textbook war crime. The Trump administration maintains it is fighting a non-international armed conflict with drug cartels, making strikes lawful under the rules of war. Human Rights Watch rejected this framing, calling the operation's murder rather than military action.
And then it's getting after and going after narco-terrorists and designated terrorist organizations in our own hemisphere. As I've said, and I'll say again, we've only just begun striking narco boats and putting narco-terrorists at the bottom of the ocean because they've been poisoning the American people. And Joe Biden tried to approach it with kid gloves and allowed them to come across the border, cartels take over community, 20 million people, hundreds of thousands of Americans poisoned. And President Trump said, no, we're taking the gloves off. We're taking the fight to these designated terror organizations, and that's exactly what we're doing. So we're stopping the drugs, we're striking the boats, we're defeating narco-terrorists.
Trump suggested operations would expand beyond Venezuela to target any country involved in drug production, specifically mentioning Colombia's cocaine manufacturing facilities. The campaign has struck at least 21 vessels since September, killing 83 people according to Pentagon figures. Senator Rand Paul disclosed that 21% of Coast Guard interdictions find no drugs aboard suspected vessels, raising questions about targeting accuracy. Families of those killed claim many were civilian fishermen with no cartel connections. Admiral Bradley now faces congressional questioning on December 5th about rules of engagement and whether survivors were deliberately targeted. Both the Senate and House Armed Services Committees have pledged investigations into the strikes. Pentagon spokesman Kingsley Wilson stated both the Secretary and President were directing the operations, contradicting Trump's claim he was unaware of details. The President told reporters he would not have wanted a second strike before later defending the broader campaign.
But he also allowed drugs to come in at record numbers, and hundreds of thousands of people a year died. And we're taking those son of a bitches out, yeah.